Mike Zimmer seems to be enjoying life as he spends some quality time away from coaching for the first time in more than a decade. The former Minnesota Vikings head coach was pictured in Cincinnati last Sunday as he closely watched the Bengals training session. Is Coach Zimmer ready to make his return to Cincinnati, or is he just chilling with his old team? Keep watching and we'll tell you everything about the surprise appearance. First up, just some quality time? Mike Zimmer made quite the entry as he surprised everyone at the Bengals training camp after an unannounced visit on Sunday. This is probably the first time in nearly 9 years that we've seen him enjoying some quality time with his old team. Zimmer had a huge impact at Cincinnati. He spent nearly 6 seasons working as the team's defensive coordinator from 2008 to 2013. So you can sort of imagine why his surprise visit has caused such a stir amongst fans. They can't help but wonder whether Zimmer is finally ready to return to the Bengals. But we hate to break it to you, he's probably just there to spend some time with his son and some old pals. The Cincinnati Bengals hired his son Adam as their offensive advisor last year, so maybe that's why he was chilling with the team on Sunday. Also, this visit isn't just a big deal because he was spotted at his old training camp or something. It's big because this is the first time we've seen him in public after he got fired from Minnesota about 6 months ago. And while we think it would be pretty cool to see Zimmer as the Bengals defensive coordinator, Lou would either have to get sniped or leave for a bigger coaching job to make space for him. For now, let's just think of it as a much-needed Cincinnati reunion, with appearances from Pac-Man Jones, Chad Johnson, and obviously Mike. But still, not everything about his visit has been all sparkly for fans. Some of them have lashed out at his son Adam for getting a job without having even coached college. Apparently, they're not a fan of coaches and their kids who go straight into NFL professional coaching without any history whatsoever. Next, handling it like a boss. Believe it or not, Zimmer hasn't said a single word about how he got fired from the Vikings. And like we just told you, this is the first time we've seen him in 6 months. We still think he handled it like a boss though, especially when you look at someone like Rick Spielman, former general manager of the Vikings, who also got fired earlier this year. Rick just went off at the Vikings. He was doing shows, podcasts, radio shows. This guy even made a Twitter just to take the occasional shot at Zimmer. But Mike kept to himself during the last few months, and it's probably because he thought of it as some much needed time away from coaching. And the fact that both of them got laid off just makes us wonder whether it was the differences in their philosophies that got them fired in the first place. Anyway, it doesn't seem like Zimmer will be coaching anywhere in the NFL this season, but that could possibly change by 2023. After all, he is a Super Bowl winner who adds a crazy amount of value to the team. But since he's said pretty much nothing about coaching, we're guessing teams are also giving him some time to get away from it all. But that's still not enough to calm Bengal fans down, as they've already started to talk about how Zimmer is going to be filling in as defensive coordinator by 2023. Wonder what they plan on doing to Lou to make all that happen. Let's talk about the breaking point. We've heard a ton of stories about how Zimmer didn't like Kirk Cousins during his time at the Minnesota Vikings. Like, remember that one time when Cousins literally grabbed Mike by the collar and shoved him around before getting pushed back? Both of them played it down during the press conference, saying they were pretty pumped up at the time, but it felt like much more, to be honest. And then you also have to consider Zimmer's relationship with general manager Rick Spielman. Rumor has it that Rick and Mike wouldn't even talk to each other. Just think about it. A general manager who doesn't talk, a star player who pushes you around on live television. That probably won't sit well with any head coach in the entire NFL. Former Vikings linebacker Ben Lieber thinks it was his relationship with Kirk Cousins that pretty much brought him to his breaking point and got him fired. But it isn't like Ben is blaming Zimmer for how the team performed last season. He just thinks their relationship wasn't like how a head coach and QB should interact. Like, even if we talk about the whole vaccination incident and how Zimmer singled out Cousins Cousins, even though there were other players who refused to get the shot, it all kind of makes sense. Ultimately, all that led to Zimmer getting fired, and the Vikings were forced to bring someone a bit more friendlier. Anyway, looks like he's back where he belongs, and who knows, maybe he'll become a permanent part of the Bengals training sessions in the coming year. Time for some more on the NFL. Up next, a rigged contract. The troubles continue to mount for the Cleveland Browns as the NFL appeals Deshaun Watson's 6-game suspension. And while all that chaos is going on, NFL teams have started calling out the Browns for rigging Watson's contract to prevent a large financial fallout from the league's disciplinary action. Watson signed a $230 million contract back in March, but with everything that's happened, he's set to lose around $345,000 if the appeal goes unsuccessful. That comes out to about $57,500 per game. But you're probably wondering, if he's losing almost $60,000 per game, what's the issue here? Well, think of it this way. He's only losing a fraction of his 2022 compensation because that's how the contract is set up. Cleveland has still put up quite a reasonable defense, to be honest. A general manager, Andrew Berry, claims that Watson's contract isn't all special or something, and that they have multiple players on a very similar contract. He told reporters that as the team got comfortable with Deshaun, they offered him a big contract, like the ones they've offered to other players on the team. And he also said that they had to structure it in that particular way, so they'd have flexibility to execute everything they had planned out for the offseason. Alright, that makes sense, but considering how former federal judge Sue Robinson handed him a 6-game ban because he found Watson engaged in sexual assault against 4 massage therapists, shouldn't he be losing a lot more money than just $350,000 off his $230 million contract? And now for a Karen confrontation. Former NFL star Terrell Owens recently shared a video on Instagram in which a lady he dubbed as Karen called the cops on him for checking his mail. Owens claimed he was going to check his mail when a random lady on the street called the cops on him and told them he was speeding and tried to hit her. Terrell recorded the entire 11-minute interaction in which he repeatedly called her Karen while she kept accusing him of trying to hit her while speeding. The former NFL star also said things like how this is a very Karen thing to do, since she called the cops because of the color of his skin. Anyway, police quickly arrived on the scene and resolved the confrontation. Also, since Owens did nothing criminal, it's pretty weird for the couple to make lies about him speeding and trying to hit them. Finally, tripping footballs. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers is a character on and off the playing field. We always thought of him as someone very interesting and entertaining. And after finding out the QB likes to indulge himself in ayahuasca retreats, we can't help but imagine how he must look on the hallucinogenic drink. Anyway, he talked about the retreat on the Aubrey Marcus podcast, but it didn't go as planned since people started calling him out for violating the NFL drug policy. Since it's a hallucinogenic drink and not something that enhances performances or counts as substance abuse, it doesn't come under the NFL drug policy. As long as he's doing it in the offseason, right? Like, we definitely wouldn't want to hear about Rodgers out of his mind a few days before the game or something. Also, the QB claims the drink has changed him forever, since it's given him a unique, once-in-a-lifetime trip that's created a deep and meaningful appreciation for life. We don't want to come off as judgmental, but that sounds exactly like something a person on hallucinogens would say. Just kidding. If he's healthy and the NFL allows it, then he can do whatever he wants. That's it from our side, folks. So what do you think? Is Zimmer going to join Cincinnati as a defensive coordinator? And did his relationship with Rick Spielman and Cousins get him fired from the Vikings? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time.